for once. Then
professional. This is a professional podcast.
It is
well,
super
that's what
professional.
they say, but
with
I
our
have never seen any evidence to support that theory.
planned cold opens and sneaky.
And
Welcome to the Dresden Files podcast. I'm your host Ben because I have the most facial hair. So
it's a mantle by the most facial hair.
Yes.
Stop it.
So everything is a mantle. Today I'm Ben. So we're a member of the Broken Jars Network. Mostly it's us and then the other us when we record next week.
We are the pillars then of the Broken Jars Network is what you mean to say.
I mean, it's a broken jar. I don't think there are any pillars, but
maybe that's why it's broken.
That sounds right.
We outgrew the jar. Okay.
Finally, after 300 years, we're here to talk to you about peace talks, even dissect it, perhaps.
Yeah.
And
we do that last week. And by we, I mean you guys.
That was a quick discussion.
We tried to do high level and,
Yeah, it's just kind of like a party of like, oh my God, it's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Boy, are you guys going to be so excited in 2 weeks when we actually talk about the book, which is today.
Yeah. But yes, let's go through it. Is there any other news?
Do we introduce?
There's a new human on here. You might want.
That's true. Yes,
and the fabled questions.
Yes, we're going to do that in the beginning this time instead of almost after the hour that we were about to stop recording. So Spencer, you have to tell us your favorite character in the Dresden Files and your favorite 3 books.
Right. So my favorite 3 books are definitely Proven Guilty. It was the first. That's like my all-time favorite. It's the first book I read, and it just like always kind of reminds me of like
rewind. That was
episode.
The first book you read.
Yeah, that was actually the first one I started with. I just happened to somebody gave it to me, and I just kind of read it and didn't know where in the series it fell, so I was kind of confused. But then, of course, went back and started.
Yeah, I'd say Proven Guilty is
8.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, I guess I see why you can jump in at 7 because it's really written.
I know. Yeah, I know. I did it super weird, but that's just where I happened to start, and like that was just like, I don't know. I just love the whole like the horror con thing that they're at, and like just where we get introduced to Molly, and kind of jumping around here, but Molly's my favorite character, and like her whole arc has just been awesome. And so like that book where we get to meet her. And then, of course, Cold Days is probably my second favorite, and then White Knight. They're all kind of around the same area of timeline, but
now Justin shall be judgy.
Right? Yeah, I knew it.
No, there was. The quip I was going to make actually this time was like at least you got in on the books instead of the TV show like some fans.
Oh,
Sorry,
right. Yeah.
Had to make that jab, but it's not your guys' fault that you guys got dealt a bad hand. No.
Yeah, I started with the TV show, and then I picked up the book, and the book was better. Imagine that.
Right.
I watched the TV show when I was out of Dresden things after Ghost Story.
You were just so desperate. You were like, I will drink cactus juice. It is the quenchiest. Like,
imagine when I was that thirsty back then. I was like, oh man, it's a whole year until the next book. A year?
I know, right? Unthinkable.
Yeah.
5 years later.
So you said you're just proven guilty. It was Cold Days, and it was what?
White Knight.
White Knight.
Oh, you were doing so well.
What did I miss?
So White Knight it's usually in the bottom 5, especially for us, but like there are good parts, right? Like that's the problem with it, I think, is like I think the A plot, the stuff that it gets you hooked in and kind of sells it is pretty weak. But when they finally tie it around together and you get, Camp Kaboom and the duel, is some of the best shit in Dresden Files. But it's like if you could pull that shit out of White Knight and put it in any other book, I think
Camp Kaboom should almost.
No, I totally
it was
agree.
just so plot relevant, but it should almost have just been a side story.
Right. And I mean, speaking of plot relevant, it's sort of plot relevant to Peace Talks because everything is happening in Peace Talks.
Everything is certainly referenced in Peace Talks.
And
There's
yet nothing's happening.
Quite a bit.
Sure is.
Well, yeah.
It's not bad.
I think
not bad list.
I think the thing that people have a problem with Peace Talks, just to get into it, is, the Peace Talks is the rising action that Jim always writes, right? How anymore he gets to the point where it's like there has to be a middle action to keep people interested. There has to be some kind of like fight or excitement in the middle of the book, but otherwise it generally goes up to a peak, has a quick action peak, and then dips a little bit and then takes off towards the finale, which is like, we've only got 5 chapters. Are you really going to be able to tie this shit up in 5 chapters? And of course it always happens. And Peace Talks, it's more like a little low. There's a little hiccup. There's a second little hiccup if you want to count the Ebenezer fire thing separate. There's, finally we start to get into some action, but it's still building. And to me, that was one of the problems that I had with Peace Talks, was like, even early on, even in like the first 10 chapters, we're just like, it's Giles Corey from the Crucible, right? I'm not mixing my literary things, but it's like more weight, right? Mm-hmm. And finally, you're just like, for the love of God, stop putting things on Harry Dresden. Like, I don't see how he can handle anymore. And we haven't even gotten to, like, we now see the shit on the horizon, but that's going to be the next book. And the next book, I don't know, is he going to continue that formula? Is this one of those songs where it continues to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise, and you're like, this isn't possible?
Well, the other problem is you're going to have like 5 resolution plot threads, all while dealing with the main battle of a Titan.
I don't think everything set up in this book. Everything set up in this book is not getting resolved in this book.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah,
maybe not everything, but I'm pretty
sure. Or in this duology. But let's call Peace Talks Battlegrounds like one book.
No,
Peace
let's not give that excuse.
Battle Talks. It's now preserved on the.
I'm not giving an excuse. Time. I was talking in context of these plot lines when I said one book, because it feels like one book. Like it was supposed to be one book. What I mean is, I don't think there ever was any intention that all of these things set up was ever going to be resolved here.
Right. For instance, as much as we would like to see a happy resolution or any kind of resolution, I don't think the Dresden family drama is going to get resolved.
I don't think Thomas is getting defrosted in Battlegrounds.
No way.
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean the Ebenezer stuff.
Yeah, the Ebenezer stuff, the whole what the deal is with Thomas, the stuff with Justine.
I mean,
that's all going to get resolved.
Thomas is at least benched for a couple books, right? You think?
That's what I think.
It's possible, but I don't really see it happening.
If he doesn't come out in this book in Battlegrounds, then the next book he's reality hopping. He's getting pulled into another dimension. So Thomas is not going to be. Well, Thomas could be in that one, but it'll be Alter Thomas.
Right.
So that'll be the end around to that.
Right.
Thomas has been in almost every book since he was introduced, actually. So it's going to be really weird that he's not. But I don't think he's going. I think he's going to skip at least 1 or 2 books.
Yeah.
So should we get into like go chapter by chapter, spoilers heavy, and was that the dissection you're looking for, or we're just kind of bouncing around?
I kind of wanted to address a little something first with Peace Talks, is that there's been like a lot of negative feedback on the subreddit, like a lot, but I don't agree with it, and just to like give it some balance, because I know it can be like the subreddit can be an echo chamber, is that overall, with like 10,000 ratings on Goodreads, it's a 4.3 for people. So I think all the negativity we've seen specifically on the subreddit is I guess that's like more of a vocal minority than the larger fan base. I think most people is more like how I feel about it than how EG feels about it, because I get the feeling that EG is less than excited about Peace Talks.
Yeah, that would be
So I mean, let's cut to the chase a little bit. If you had to stack rank this one, like we're not as bad as Full Moon, right? Or Ghost Story. Where are we? Bottom 5? Did we sink all the way down?
Yeah, this is bottom 5.
Oof.
Which for me is top 3. It's moved Cold Days out of my top 3.
Which I think is insane.
Yeah, I don't see how that could be either.
It could plummet because of Battlegrounds, but the setup in this book and everything that happens in it, I get so much that I wanted, and there's so much cool setup. And I know there's errors, but I'm not gonna take the editing errors. I'm just like, whatever that happened. In terms of the book, the story, it's everything I wanted.
Right. I could see it dropping out of the top 5 for sure, but I would not put it in the bottom 5. for my thing. So like I get it. It's an okay book, for the Dresden Files specifically. There's a lot to answer, and I still hold the faith that answer is coming. Like I just can't imagine like either the author and his beta asylum have gone completely off the rails, and they're just not paying attention to the material while simultaneously referencing comic books that came out like a decade ago and hardly any of the fans have read in comparison. So either he's paying attention to all those little details, but not some of the big ones somehow, or there's going to be an explanation. And sure, I may be putting myself out there for disappointment, whatever, later, but in 3 months we'll find out. 2 months now, right?
I think what happened is editor told him this is going to be really expensive for us to print. It's going to be an expensive book. He was like, I can make it 2 books. It had to be done really fast. He edited it. Maybe he used an old file, some stuff that the beta readers told him need to be changed, was forgotten or something. I think that something like that is what happened.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate too much beyond what I've got, but I understand the people like with their negative opinion. I don't fault them for that at all. Like I see that there, but it'd be the same thing. Like I keep comparing it to Infinity War and Endgame. Like you can't have one without the other. People want to complain that, oh, well, they split it up into 2 books and it's a money grab and all this other shit. Come on, Harry Potter, dude. We split 1 book into 2 movies. This shit's been going on for a while.
Yeah, and that was terrible.
I know. I get it. It's not necessarily an excuse, but it's not like he invented the process or he's going out of his way to like squeeze an extra $12 out of you or something.
I don't think it's the money. I don't think it's a money grab at all.
It
was a practical thing. It was just it wasn't working with the publisher he has, so he pivoted a little.
Right. So some of those things, and then there's obviously I'm not going to say every misstep and every gaffe could be explained that way, but like some of the ones that people are real worked up about, I'm like, I don't know, it seems a little too obvious for that to be a miss, and then reference the Naga from a comic book that like 7 people have read and we're 5 of them, so
nope.
Like
I don't have my phone on me. What's the page count for what's the page count for Cold Days? That was the longest book before this, right?
It was like I don't know the page number, but
515
like
pages.
Yeah.
So
you gotta go by word count though, because pages change.
Sure.
I can't go by word count because it doesn't say on Goodreads. I don't know where to find the word count.
Maybe Goodreads is a pile of shit.
Yeah,
okay.
What's
your solution, director?
That's what we got.
Bastard. Yeah, exactly.
Find the word count. They're known somewhere.
Okay. I was like, we'll pull that up in the Dresden Files encyclopedia that we don't have. This is where I'd put it if I had one.
But he's right there.
Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't go as far as page numbers. Thank you.
Right.
There are some
word count because page.
I need space for
days.
some other things, like putting 1 foot in front of the
So
other.
we've established that he is an encyclopedia, not an intellectus. So
I found this could be wrong, but this is from the subreddit like 6 years ago. And Cold Days is 175,685 words, which is the longest by 20,000 or so. Oh, no, 14,000. I'm just saying the 2 books together are probably going to be in the upwards of what would we imagine. I don't know. We don't have the word count on this one. That's why I wanted to go with pages.
Well, they had the page count for Battlegrounds is like 400 something, 420 something, I thought.
And Beastock is 300 and 315. So it's like it's going to be 30-40% bigger than Cold Days if it had been 1 book.
Right.
But I mean, that's what the end books are supposed to be at a minimum.
Yeah, right. They're going to have to figure that out.
Exactly. Yeah. That's going to be its own challenge, and hopefully he's thinking about that now.
But maybe because there is time between now and then, maybe they will get that contract moving to be able to allow that. Mm. But it might also be a genre shift that, as people have been saying, that like urban fantasy are generally not door stoppers. They're much more in like the 1 to 2 inch thickness range.
Yeah,
so
it's promised this one's like
unless Sanderson writes an urban fantasy, then it might be a door stopper.
He has been promising it, but I think it depends on the details of his contract. He might have a contract that only goes like 3 books and then 3 books or something like that. So that might not be included yet.
we can speculate or we can take the man's vision and his word.
Yeah.
Like
I have no doubt if he has to change publishers or something, or the imprint or something, he'll figure out how to get those books out there.
I mean, he's one of the big ones, right? He has all the negotiating power, really.
Ish. I'm sure he appreciates you saying.
I mean,
so.
I'm sure he has contracts and shit, but he must have a lot of leverage. In a negotiation.
Fair.
But yeah, that's also like another thing would to address some of the hate the peace talks get that I think is unfounded. But that's probably because a lot of people don't follow it as closely as we do. It's the whole pivot. It's not even peace talks. There's barely any politics.
Right.
Where it's like, sure, I get your grievance, but the whole point of this book, as he said, like if you've seen some of the interviews, like he wanted to do you think we're going down here? No.
Right.
That was like the whole point.
I mean,
So I
but that
agree.
doesn't change the fact that it's not necessarily a good thing.
Well, I
You can
agree,
not
but
like
also
it.
I think there's a detail in the story that kind of, gives the out there, right? Like, so since we're gonna not talk about the book, apparently, where it happens, basically, it's peace talks. Yes, everything that we've got is setting up for it, which we expected, but we actually expected them to sit down and negotiate, right? The problem is that the peace talks were called by the Fomor, who showed up at the end of the book and didn't ever fucking sit down to talk. So we get a little bit of the tease with Laura and Christos and people doing their side conversations for the 2 days or whatever leading up to it. But we don't get the actual hard negotiation because all of the nations, including the one that actually called the meeting, didn't show up. The Fomor had their peace talks. They got exactly what they wanted out of it, which was to apparently push Mab through about 14 walls and another block, and then tell everybody that they're on notice. Now, there are problems with that and everything, but that's what happened, So, that's basically what it is he showed up late to his own party, crashed it, and bounced, so that's the peace talks we got. They were never interested in peace. We knew they were never interested in peace. We just wanted to see more from the accorded nations, like dealing with
exactly. I don't think you don't have to make it could have ended exactly the same way, but it was a really good opportunity. And I think what everyone, including myself, was expecting was the fleshing out of the world a little more. Even, I mean, Harry, who does he end up talking with that we haven't either already seen or barely get any more information on? I mean, even the people we would have liked to see him talk to that we don't get any interaction with, like maybe not that I particularly care as much because that can still happen, and Sarisa and things like that. But you don't really get into the heads of these other nations. You don't really get what they're feeling and why here, so that at the end, when they're all hatting up with each other, except for the ghouls who want to run away, it's like, all right, but it's just kind of, yay, we're doing this.
I mean,
at the end, after all of the destruction, they're gonna have to lay down new rules because it's going to change. The veil of ignorance is going to be lifted, and therefore the rules have to change. So after when there's that little like tie-up chapter, there's gonna be more.
Could be. Probably. I mean, I don't think that at the end of the day, I mean, what you're saying, like, it is definitely going to happen, but, belying stuff from like Christmas Eve, which is a huge fucking hint as to how things are going to shake out as well. I don't think it's that book, right? Harry's not going to be there for that. And if it is, he's not going to be sitting there taking notes on it.
Well, no, it's going to be the wrap up. If that kind of thing happens, the wrap up would be, because they mention in Christmas Story about, Molly mentions offhand about him getting in everyone's face afterward. So obviously all the big shit happens, and he probably, tells everybody off because he's Harry and that's what he does. Mm-hmm. And then, so you're going to get kind of the wrap up, but it's going to be the same as the last, one of the last chapters of this book, where they're all talking with each other, and they're either going to all kind of nod in assent, or they're going to have a little bit of pushback, but maybe, and he's not going to have any of it. So I don't know how much more you're really going to glean from what these people are thinking, other than, the hot-headed wizard's right.
Right. That, and I think it kind of undersells some of the tidbits that we did get, right? Like, he's not necessarily in your face with a lot of it, but we do see a little bit of something from everybody. We don't get everything from everybody, but we find out that Vatarong and Faravax have got some kind of beef or some kind of chess game that we otherwise had no inkling of. We see Laura interacting with working with the I want to call them Svirfneblin again for some reason.
Svartalfs.
The Svartalfs. So the Svartalfs and even Christos, for whatever reason, trying to grease everybody's palms and be all smiley buddy because he's presumably working on the manipulation. He's still an evil bastard, but we didn't see any of that really. He was trying to play the diplomat and the middleman. We see the Bigfoot is, coming out of his shell. Also, that the other one that was presumably ground into some kind of, snow cone is fucking running around and has a grudge. Who would have thunk? And if he's still running around and has a grudge, he probably also still has the coin, which means he's going to be all sorts of a pain in the ass later.
Still makes no sense.
There was actually a hint to why he might be alive, kinda. That he kind of saw himself as the archetype, and we know each race kind of have their, like the Scarecrow, the Scarecrow, the what were they called? Was it Fetches?
The Fetches.
Yeah.
He was eldest.
That he might be that for the Blood Clan or something.
Maybe.
But even then, that's a mantle that can pass.
Yeah, he sees himself as the paragon, but I think more it belies the nature of the Bigfoot people. That they are much more divine than we've given them credit for. Like they're potentially immortal, potentially all of them, to the same level that the She would be. So that unless they are killed in certain circumstances and other things like that, they're going to come back. Like I think the more unbelievable thing is that we found out that all of these She are immortal, right? And then Harry seems to be able to kill one every other book now. Since Cold Days. Like, that's always in the back of my mind. Like, I don't let it affect me, but it's like, so he kills the two She at the party, right? And he deals with the Rawhead and all of this other shit, but it's like, aren't they all immortal?
No, like just the queens.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like they're functionally immortal. They won't age. They won't die of disease.
Okay, so they're like Tolkien elf immortal,
yeah.
Like, as long as they don't get killed, then yeah.
Pretty much, unless you have like a mantle of power or you're on such a huge level that theoretically you shouldn't be able to get ganked by anyone on Halloween but even then your power passes. So
right, I was going to say, so even again, like, we know that the queens aren't actually immortal. They're more immortal than
they're 99.9999% as opposed to the She that are like 95%.
Okay, yeah,
we know that
and we know now that the Bigfoot people are something like that, whatever you want to call them. So.
He's about 1,000 years old, and he says he thinks he's about middle-aged. So they age, it looks like, but just extremely slowly. And maybe there's regenerative things that they have just by how magical they are, similar to wizards, but on an even larger scale.
Right. Well, and I was going to say, like, to borrow Lord of the Rings a little bit, he might be Gandalf level. He might be Maiar, or something like that, where he's, they just live, even compared to the elves, they live for a fucking real long time, and they're that much more powerful. But yeah, we don't know the mechanism. We don't know. He's obviously very powerful in his own right, and then also has a coin, so there's plenty of that going around. Like, the coin was going to be Harry's power up. Imagine giving the coin. Lord of the Rings again. Imagine giving the Ring of Power to Gandalf. What do you think that's going to look like? That's what we've got now.
If it was that evenly and it was on neutral ground, so to speak, but he was also in the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really,
I know, but there was not other than being, really adjacent to the underworld there, and obviously the ice has some kind of like, non-standard properties, but just the way that it's being used. There's nothing to say, like, if you die here, you die forever, even if you're a mortal.
No, he shouldn't have been let out.
Yeah, how do you think he got out of the underworld? That's
someone had to bargain.
Right.
Bargain?
Or he wasn't technically in the underworld. So he was at the second gate.
Oh,
I don't think that counts.
It was
No.
all it was all in the underworld. He was not in the vault.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
At least that's how I remember it and view it.
Yeah,
and
that the whole thing was
interpret
the
it.
underworld, but it was like the entrance to the here's the treasure.
I would say that perhaps someone in a different underworld had to bargain to get it back because that's his coin.
oh,
see.
yeah.
But then you could just have the coin come out. I mean, if the coins are
it's that I don't know. Obviously, they want to get the coin out. It's meant to be in circulation. As to why blood on his soul had to come with, I don't know.
I would actually be okay with Hades being in the end around to that because he already keeps weapons that he's not supposed to necessarily have. He just keeps them until they're supposed to be out again. Let him keep a coin until it's supposed to be out again.
I also did like that too. Does Hades ever send people out of the underworld to go do quests? Maybe he's like, go do this thing for me. Go get me that armory thing.
I don't remember well enough.
I don't remember any story from Greek mythology that Hades might do anything like that, but I like the idea of Hades having been in control and not having given up something that we see.
I mean, it depends
so
on how it works. I don't remember. I mean, he's kind of a hands-on dude, but I don't know that he went around like snatching up all the Renaissance paintings and stuff that got lost, or if it just kind of comes to him as being a lost thing.
He probably has buyers.
Well, yeah, I imagine he has something like that, but I don't know if he's like the owl from Avatar that has a little fox that goes out and seeks shit for him. I have no idea. I don't remember that part.
I was thinking about the movie for a second there, but I know what you mean now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The good thing, not the blue people.
Not the Pocahontas movie?
No.
Gotcha.
Well, should we get started
look at
on
all this
chapter
speculation about a book that had no, peace talks and no world building in it. So,
All right, shall we
because
start
we're brilliant doesn't mean
with the
anything.
dissection and the line by line? Let's go. Like, what did he mess up here? What did he say there?
Right.
Okay.
Everybody's
chapter
read
1.
the first chapter. So, Justine is pregnant. Thomas is a dick.
Yep.
Harry's arguing with him in a giant footprint. Ramirez
probably
shows
belongs
up
to a
and
Titan.
ruins his other family argument thing. Well, I don't know. I'm still not convinced it's her footprint so much as, it still could be Jotun's. So
It could be, but
It could be the same thing, though.
no, she's a Titan. So
No. Yeah,
she's
Water's
got
ice.
Titanic bronze, not Jotun bronze. Come on now.
really water, ice. That's what you're going with is your connection.
Yeah.
Ramirez asks Harry to do guard duty for the upcoming peace talks, which is funny because Harry's almost certainly going to be engaged with Winter, you'd think, right? Because he's the head of MAB security, presumably.
Yeah, but he's bad now, so we have to keep an eye on him because we're big babies.
Yes, but we're bad now. Yeah.
Keep your
puts that-
enemies closer, Hoss.
Puts that ink thing on his wrist, so he didn't.
Even though he only fist bumped him.
Right. Yeah, we find out later. So yeah. Okay, so EG is going to have the side bust with like every misstep along the way. So at least we got that.
They're written down. So.
Somebody's cataloged them already.
Yeah, most. I mean, I did a few, but somebody did others.
Nice. I'll have to dig that out. I might have seen some of it, but I don't remember all of this was cataloged. So chapter 2 was pancakes.
Yes, it was. Wait, it was a shower, so the ink stayed on.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
He's a wizard. You don't think he'd think of that? Come on now.
It's magic ink.
Yeah.
It's
That
Peabody
didn't
ink
get
because
washed
Ramirez
off
is
in running
actually.
water?
Doesn't the magic get washed away by the shower?
Whoa! What a call.
Okay, there's the jokey passcode phrases to get in, and we see Austri be very serious. Like, would it kill you to let up on security? Yeah, it probably will.
Yeah, it might.
Foreshadowing.
Right.
Yay. All right, and then a shower and pancakes and
Very sweet scene with Bonea and Maggie.
I mean, I'll tell you,
daughters.
that's something I wish we had more of was Bonea. Like, give me a break, man.
And it would be nice if he would have had a little more concern for her and not just Maggie later on. That would have been nice too.
I'm not so worked up about that because Harry's kind of xenophobic in that way. But the one that my wife brought up was the fact that like So in the next chapter, right, Ebenezer shows up and they all sit down for pancakes, and he's like, wasn't he just making pancakes with his daughter? Where the fuck are her pancakes? Grandpa's now eating granddaughter's pancakes.
Yeah.
Like,
They made more.
You?
They made more.
Right.
I was gonna say they went and they had lunch
but,
pancakes.
yeah, right.
Which are also fantastic.
But she's literally
Pancakes
just chilling
work
out
whenever.
in their safe room the entire time he's arguing with Ebenezer. So
Bonnie was fun though. In the audiobook, she has the same posh accent as Bob. It's just a little bit smaller.
nice.
Yeah,
And more feminine.
Good touch.
Yeah.
Now
And-
she doesn't know everything that Bob knows, right? Like she doesn't
No.
have the same like
He knows
expansive
more.
knowledge. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she doesn't necessarily like whatever Bob knows. She might not know anything Bob knows, but she knows in totality.
She
more than he
knows
knows.
everything Lashiel knew and everything
Right,
Dresden
and
knew,
everything
as I
Harry.
understand it.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's got that combined.
And the
Intellect.
knowledge of an angel who basically knows everything.
Well, yeah, that was around since before creation and at creation and all that.
Also,
other stuff.
they also all have intellectus, right?
Angels do, yeah.
Yeah.
Ish.
I don't think that means Bonnie does.
No, but everything that Lash has ever thought of with her intellectus, I guess, would something
Maybe.
Bunny knows.
I mean, there's
So-
wiggle room for it either way because she'll know things that Lashiel knew because Lash was the echo of Lashiel.
Right.
It's probably going to be a huge amount of stuff, but I don't think it's going to be intellectus in the traditional sense that Harry can just ask Bonnie a question about anything and she's going to just have to think about it and know the answer.
And if I had to wager, especially based off of just the little scene that we've got so far, like, so she's got all of this data locked away in a warehouse does not mean she has access to it per se, that she's got to build connections to it through experience. Like,
and she doesn't
the whole
understand most of what
pancakes
she
are
knows.
inanimate thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lash would have known the difference between animate and inanimate and mortals and pancakes, so I think that's probably what you're going to get,
Right.
so it's not like
she has knowledge but no context.
right. So she's not just running around. I mean, okay, she's not just running around making nuclear weapons because Harry said so, but she might accidentally make some because she doesn't know better. She's
Right.
like, hey, I
Right.
found this really cool thing.
If Maggie asked her for a recipe on how to make uranium,
Right.
Yeah.
she could do it.
Right.
There's something very weird about numbers in this book.
Okay.
So there's 227 individual pancake recipes that Bonnie knows. 16 can be made with the current inventory of the kitchen, and Maggie says they're using number 7.
Okay.
7 shows up a lot.
Yeah.
It's
That
I
might
don't
just be
know
an M thing.
why. It's just weird.
It's a divine
Might be
number.
an M
It's
thing.
also a magical number.
I
Doesn't
was going to
Harry
say
often
3,
Yes.
7, 13. These are kind
Right.
of,
Yeah,
So-
he really likes number 7.
Right. No, Mag
So did Mickey
really
Mantle.
likes number 7. This is Mag. Okay.
If you comb through the conversation with Harry and Thomas before Ebenezer shows up, you can definitely see Thomas has something going on he's not sharing. And he basically says, well, why are you acting so weird? Thomas says, well, there's a lot going on. It doesn't explain anything. And Harry just like, oh, it's because he's scared about being a parent.
he's plotting.
Whatever plot is already going, he just can't say anything.
Well, yeah, even in when they were running on the beach and Harry's talking to him about like, you got to like take care of yourself and all this stuff. And Thomas says like, I have a solution in mind.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
kind of like piqued my interest. I was like, oh man, early foreshadowing.
Right.
Of something. Yeah.
Something. Yeah, we don't know.
And then I think that first boiling pot sneezes out of nowhere.
Right.
And then Ebenezer shows up and they almost throw down.
Right. Yeah, it's the next chapter because you get a nice little cliffhanger, which was great to wait for a fucking week. Thank you. When we were reading them one chapter a week.
Yeah,
and
I
just being like,
really am praying.
some
he doesn't
people-
do
some
this
people
for
have to.
Battleground.
right.
If he
But we
does
are-
this for Battleground, I'm getting really pissed off.
We are going to get early.
He is
release
definitely
chapters.
doing it because it's a great promotion tool.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we had this whole week-long wait on, oh my God, somebody's at the door and the Svardolf security is going nuts and everything. And then it's just obstinate grandpa is at the door pissing off everybody because he can. Because
Which is what we guessed. To give ourselves credit, that is exactly what we guessed.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's Ebenezer's. All right.
Right. because no one is going to go through all of the wards and show up at the door and be all really ominous like that, and it's a little girl or it's grandpa. It's like it's not going to be that guy.
It was a little girl last time. It was Ivy the last time it happened.
Exactly.
It was
but a little girl.
That would be going to the well too much.
Yeah, sure.
All right. He has pissed off all Svartalf security, but invited in, and then Ebenezer and Thomas almost go after each other. Does Thomas know that Ebenezer is his grandfather? Because obviously Ebenezer doesn't know the connection, but does Thomas?
I want to lean on yes, but
because Laura does, right?
That's not the why per se though, but Thomas actually, like, never mind. I don't know. Because Thomas is the little brother, right? So he just always seemed a little bit more clued in, I guess, is why I get those flipped around.
McCoy didn't show that Margaret was his daughter very much. It was kind of a secret he was hoping to keep. Failed several times.
Thomas was the little brother?
He's the littlest brother, yeah.
No, he's the older brother.
He's the younger brother because, she died in childbirth. So that's how childbirth normally happens.
And so Thomas is the older brother.
Of Harry, yeah.
By 5 years.
Yeah.
He's
the
littlest.
Thomas is Harry's older brother.
Or by at least 5 years.
These blended families get really confusing. Okay. There's no guarantee that Thomas actually knows.
I was going to say,
who the rest of
Jim
Margaret's
decided to go
is.
the route that Ebenezer didn't know, even though he could have gone one way or the other. I tend to think Thomas doesn't really necessarily know either.
Right.
It would be good for him to gain family and then lose it.
Because you think he would have had a little bit more angst over, Ebenezer outwardly just hating him like that if he also knew he was family. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it's 50-50 with the way Thomas was acting.
Well, either way, he's in cryo right now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll see him again in the Apocalyptic Trilogy.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So they argue.
And he gets to wield a holy sword.
And then decide to go out and argue in front of the entire Svartalf nation. And
without pancakes.
Right.
Well, they already ate them.
Well, some of them did.
While Maggie's running around playing with little Svartalf babies, which
I actually got hungry.
I got pancakes that day because I was like, fuck it, I want pancakes now.
They decide to have a family fight in public.
Right.
As you did.
Sort of public. Yeah.
It's par for the course with Ebenezer. He did it with Maggie, and that's how Ariana figured out who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
So
Ebenezer's
this is
not
when
exactly reserved person.
They set up that they're making the gambit of kicking Harry out of the White Council because he's crazy and dangerous, and he's a winter knight, and the same thing that they threw at him for in Summer Night, which is his unusual ascendancy into being a wizard. Mm-hmm. That feels like cheating, just to like, but you already decided that. She had to be the final vote and everything.
Doesn't matter.
Well, things kind of changed since then, to be fair. Okay. Yeah, they did.
Well,
he's politically aligned with a whole other faction of the supernatural now.
Yeah,
but what does that have to do with his ascendancy in general? That decision's decided. You want to make an argument that his loyalties are split, that's different. Don't then bring up again, oh, by the way, he got onto the council in a weird way.
Well, there was a narrow road, right? So there's still people who...
They had the whole vote in front of the council about it.
And it was narrow.
Book.
All right.
The people who didn't like him...
Just because it's narrow doesn't mean you vote on it again like 10 years later.
You can bring up that grievance again. Have you seen politics? Like
double jeopardy, man. Double jeopardy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can obviously do it because they're doing it. That doesn't mean it makes sense for them to do it that way.
Okay.
Because now you have Harry who's proven himself to the White Council as a member, as a warden. So the fact that they doubled down and said, yeah, you're part of us, and then he went to bat for them, and then ended the war, is not, to me, a solid argument. To bring it up again that, oh, by the way, when he was 16, we kind of let him on just because.
I feel like this was kind of a weird book to like, and I don't know, just my opinion. I think it was kind of a weird book to like bring that into it, like the whole, is he a war or is he a wizard? Is he not? Like there was so many other things. There's so many other things going on. Yeah. But yeah, it just kind of like, I don't know, it's just one more thread to like follow through this whole thing, and it's just kind of there in the background, I guess. I don't know, kind of weird.
So this one though doesn't, like, it almost doesn't count to me because I don't feel like this is an actual threat. Like,
It's
I
not
get it,
actually
like,
about that even.
you know, and it's the same thing a little bit
It's a
with
distraction.
the
definitely.
conjuritis. You know, it's like this isn't going to be necessarily like a bodily detriment to Harry or something, right? The same thing with like him leaving the council, whether he does get kicked out, which I don't really think is going to happen, or even if he did, he will figure out a way to still be okay, right? But it's one of those things in the background. But I think it's a demonstration of, you know, oops, I've got too many eggs, and then he drops one, but it's going to be resolved anyway, right? Like, this is one of those, like,
it'll be,
you're the big hero, so oops, we're sorry, we're a bunch of assholes again. So
no, it'll be resolved. I don't think he'll get kicked out. I think it's a little bit overstated Ebenezer's point about how he's going to be isolated with Mab when the whole point of his relationship with Mab is she doesn't really give a shit what the council wants anyway. So if she wanted him to do something against what they want, that's not going to change whether he's a member of the council or not. Right. And B, his whole relationship with her is one more of a partnership, not of equals, but of someone who's able to actually competently do what he's supposed to do and see beyond the normal, just evil fairy queen bullshit. So it's not like, you know, would Mab like him to be more ruthless and darker and this, that, and the other? But especially now after she just got kicked through a wall even, and now Harry's going to solve this problem for her, it's not really going to be a big issue, even if he was kicked off the council, as far as I can tell.
Right.
Not to jump ahead too far or all the way to the end, but
jump all you want.
Okay. Do you guys think that this whole thing with him bringing Thomas to the island is going to affect that vote a lot?
Which vote?
The
vote to keep.
No, because the only one who knows about that is Ebenezer, and now that he knows who Thomas is, that's not going to factor in.
You don't think he would tell anybody?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Not a chance.
This is family business, you know.
It's family business. A, it's, as far as he's concerned, about the worst thing that could happen. B, so then it casts potential doubt on him too, because it's like, well, now you have family that's part of the, you know, this, that, and the
other.
True.
Yeah, he gets.
I mean, as far as I know, the only one on the council who actually knows is Lucio, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Rashid knows. Sorry, Vateron knows.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Lucio knows that who his grandfather is, though.
Well, everyone on that council knows before Harry knew. I'm pretty sure all the senior council knows he's his grandson, all that.
Yeah, at least most of them have to know because
all the ones that matter. I mean, if Christos doesn't know, fine.
No, Harry is his son. Okay, yeah, sure,
yeah. Because like that's what Martha Liberty said. Like, you know what he was meant to be, referencing that he was a Starborn. Morgan knew because journal. And therefore,
bring that back up.
Don't remind me about that.
Yeah.
Rashid definitely knows.
Yeah, if Morgan knew, then you know.
Yeah. Then
chances are everybody
the
else
older wardens had to know because he was someone that needed to watch, and that's why they were so scared.
Right.
Yeah. I dig that. Bjornsson.
Yeah.
Is that like the Danish, you know, quacky McDuckface or whatever? So
nope.
I just figured out how they're going to defeat the Titan. Harry's going to sneeze and summon Butters over him behind.
Magic, more magic. Yeah. Okay.
Then I'm going to throw the book out the window.
So we did the Ebenezer thing. He also, you know, talked about like, so what was the kerfuffle about Ebenezer bringing up the peace talks again, other than Harry's got to be there at the vote, even though Ramirez asked him to work security, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
It seemed like Ebenezer's reaction was like, they asked you to do what? Even though Ramirez said that Ebenezer's the one who clued him in on it. So either it's a continuity error or Ramirez was lying.
Yeah.
Later, Ramirez said that Lucio was the one who sent him to like watch and ask more questions about Harry. So maybe it was a misdirect to like make Ramirez seemed more trustworthy. Not that Lucio wouldn't have been trustworthy either. I don't know.
Well, that's the weird thing about it is like Lucio knows, which is why I brought it up. Lucio knows who Thomas is to Harry. So either she's done a complete 180 and has these new suspicions about him, or again, Ramirez is lying.
I was going to say, like, it occurs to me that I wonder how much of this back and forth just comes down to the fact that Ramirez just finally got cured of his naivety, and now he's picked up lying, and he's just bad at it.
That's possible.
I think it's going to be, one of those like you adorable idiot moments where it's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? You could have just asked. Which
it's just
we've already seen he's bad at that too, right? Like, skipping ahead a little bit, the whole like, I'm going to ask you on a dark road in the middle of fucking nowhere because I totally trust you, and that's how we express trust to our friends. Like, what?
And then
it might just be that he pretty much to a fault trusted Harry and by extension Molly. He questioned him like one time, and it was really, it was pretty. I would have questioned him sooner if from Ramirez's point of view.
I don't know. I don't think Harry's ever really let him down. Molly, fine, but Molly's a different case.
Yes, but some of the things like Harry speaking ghoul, like stuff like that.
I was going to say we got to go all the way back to White Knight to see the full scope of their relationship, because Ramirez was one of the first ones that suspected, beyond like people knew that Harry was edgier and angrier all the time because of Lash's influence. Ramirez knew that something was actually wrong, because he's like, so you can't fucking speak Latin, but you can speak ghoul? What the fuck is that about? And so like he always had a little bit of suspicions with Harry, but he always came out with trust. He always was like,
he gave him
I really hope this doesn't break my spine and give me a permanent limp. Whereas like he had no barriers whatsoever with Molly, like literally none. And now he's got to figure out how to heal from that, and how he's going to come down with his trust issues and whatnot.
Right. I have no doubt that what happened with him and Molly is influencing him to be much more of an asshole.
That's definitely why he's like this.
Right.
Yeah. But at the same time, fucking get over it.
So I don't know about that. Tiger leopard ate your face. Just get over it. Cool.
Harry wasn't a tiger.
Like, but he's a liger. He's half a tiger. So he always, because again, he always kept Harry at arm's length a little bit with the whole Lash thing, as I don't recall that ever actually getting answered. It just stopped being a problem after the deeps. And then now he's got Molly's thing, and he's like, maybe I've trusted you too much, and since you are the Winter Knight, whether you think so or not, you're on Mab's team. So I'm not letting my guard down around the Winter Court whatsoever.
Then I don't buy the keep your friends close, enemies closer argument from him. Because he sees Harry as an enemy. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Like, then there's absolutely no reason to. So either he doesn't. What's he gonna realistically learn that's gonna make him more at ease? Because he's not actually even worried about the Winter aspect. He's worried about the Lara aspect. Which doesn't exist. Anything,
sure.
Yeah.
But that's probably from Lucio. Maybe not. Lucio wouldn't be looking for Lara to have manipulated Harry too much, but because she knows that Thomas is his brother, she knows that Harry is going to get him out and get him safe. She may not like explain to everyone why she knows Harry's going to do that.
Exactly.
But she's looking for him to break the Accords in order to get Thomas safe. She's making Ramirez be more paranoid about the White Court connection.
And she would know how that's going to turn out by sicking them on him.
Yeah, she knows, and she still thinks it's the right idea.
Right. Or again, she's not part of it.
Maybe we'll find out in 1 1/3
months. Mirror.
Or 2/3. Yeah. In book 29 of the 20 case books. All right, so we had the argument, we had some of the speculation.
And then there was the explosive comments of Ebenezer saying you need to get Maggie away from you and be safe and everything. Well, you did that with Margaret, and now Margaret's dead. So how'd that work out?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point.
Harry's cheap shots were really rather annoying.
They were certainly hurtful, but they're also a very good point.
Right.
What Ebenezer did didn't work.
Right.
Yes,
Ebenezer's not wrong either, but he's also not right. You know, if it.
No, and I was actually very happy
so.
later on when he went and he is like, "Open your fucking eyes! You're the wolf here." I hate when Harry gets self-righteous and people call him out for the stupid things, and then when he gets self-righteous, nobody wants to call him out. I don't understand that.
Right.
So I was very happy when Ebenezer was like, no, I'm not playing.
And I mean, if anybody's going to call out Harry, it's going to be Ebenezer, but you know, they're just neither of them are clear-headed, you know, for it. So the real peace talks is going to be, you know, chapter 89 in Battlegrounds, where Karen Murphy sits down with Ebenezer and Dresden over a cup of tea and they hash this whole thing out. So that's what's really going to happen.
That's exactly what I need, is Murphy playing mediator for Harry's family when she can't even get her own in line.
Right. She knows broken families, being a Catholic who, you know, who's second ex-husband is banging his little sister anyway. So yeah, I was like, you guys think you guys are complicated? Let me tell you.
She's gonna be too undead to worry about squabbles like that.
Oh, whoa.
Veteran's already there. She's gonna die in battle. He's gonna see her, and she's like, "Whee!" And then she's gonna, because he's already gonna be
is still
there.
very, very passionate.
Yeah, so. Freitas would absolutely jump on that chance.
I don't think she just gets to jump her bones just because she's in Einherjar.
No, but she's gonna say, "But you can't be dead because I still have to bang you." So she's gonna resurrect.
I'm sorry. Is that gonna stop? Whoa! You think that? You think being dead is really an issue to someone like her?
Well,
more importantly, I just realized how weird it would be to have a relationship with somebody who knows when your number is up. Be like, no, really, tonight might actually be your last chance. So I'm just telling you. I
mean, she says that at the end. You know, she's not supposed to die here and now. She's supposed to die over there in the city. In parentheses. But
in parentheses,
that's what you want. That's wish fulfillment.
Well, it doesn't really wish fulfill anything for me because it's not a real death. She's gonna come back. She's still gonna be in the story, so it doesn't really help me.
If you kill me, Darth, I'll only become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Right. All that means is now she gets even more of a power up that she shouldn't have gotten, and she gets to be around forever.
Right.
Yeah, but she's earned it a little bit more than
my wish fulfillment.
Other particular people.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get somewhere on the rails. We got like 7 minutes before this becomes part 8. So
time because we've made it like 5 chapters. If we make it a factor.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we do have to finish this before Battlegrounds comes out, so there is a little bit of a deadline.
Sure. Will Grandpa come for Christmas?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
More red herrings.
God damn it. Yeah.
And then, chapter 5, he goes and talks to Murphy, and she says, of course it went badly because that's how family fights go. And she's really broken. She's going to get the cast off in like 4 days and then try to go through another round of surgeries or something like that. And then Rudolph and Bradley show up.
Right. Bradley, named after the tank in which he is. So... And
this was
Rudolph.
Another weird, just such like, why is this happening thing?
Yeah,
this is true. This could definitely be a one egg too many. Go ahead, Spence.
I was about to say when I was reading that, I'm like, why did this not happen like 2 books from now? You know what I mean? Like so close to Skin Game. Usually Jim Butcher doesn't do that. Usually things pay off or come to fruition a little later. And so I was kind of surprised when I saw this in this book.
Well, it has to happen now because it can't be after the mortal world is aware of the supernatural, because then he can just prove, well, it was a troll, that was a vampire, this was a bad guy, and he'd actually be able to have that. So it has to be before, and they just have Harvey Morrison dead, but they aren't bringing up the pictures of whenever Gray was running around as Harvey.
Right.
Also, if Murphy dies, she gets out from under it, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
Right. And it's also super weird that like they brought up in the book that it's internal investigations and she's not, you don't investigate civilians now. So I'm pretty sure she could literally just show up in court and be like, yeah, so they don't actually have jurisdiction, the end. I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but it does seem very out of character to the point where even they acknowledge it in the book, but.
Mm-hmm. And I did I saw someone on Twitter saying that they think Bradley should be played by Dave Bautista, and I like that. I'll go with it.
Okay. Yeah. I expected somebody with hair, but
he doesn't.
He can wear a wig.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, it's definitely the kind of the plot line that's like, oh, this is a thing, but we can't do anything about it. We're just gonna ignore it for forever.
Yeah, see you in the next book.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're gonna mention it again when Gray comes in, but other than that,
Very briefly.
Oh, I like that angle actually. Like, imagine him just showing up as Harvey and just being like, "Wait, I'm dead. Who told me?"
Yeah.
You know,
that would, you know what? If Harry had a brain, that would be a good way to do it. But
right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be Gray's suggestion then, since he's smart.
Or probably Murphy's suggestion.
Well,
right.
I was going to say he's smart enough to realize he shouldn't be doing the thing he was hired to be doing. He should be doing other things.
Right. Be like, I'm just one dude. Speaking of which, spoilers, he's totally in this book. So, yeah, Bradley and Butthead show up to rattle their cages, and then they leave empty-handed. And then Harry and Murphy finally actually bang. It's not some demon enhanced dream sequence. So
no, they don't.
It's something approximate, whatever.
Correct.
Whatever.
They don't bang.
Okay, so third and a half base. So
it's important. It's an important distinction. She's Catholic.
He's got some pep in his step. It's close enough.
Chapter 6 opens up. I might have been feeling pretty smug on my way back to the car that is the Monster Mobile, and I really enjoyed
the last time he had pep in his step, he got smashed by the Genoa Salami and put into a coma.
Yes, but we know that didn't happen there. Also, it's important. It was also close enough for White Court standards. Just would like to point that out there. So,
but that was after she got the cast off, technically. So maybe...
I was going to say that was after they bequeathed their love to one another. They were like, I love you. I love you too.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. So the Monster Mobile,
which is a better car than the Blue Beetle ever was.
Sad.
Yeah, Blue Beetle was overrated.
Monster Mobile is so good. Then there's 2 monsters in the back seat. I like that.
Oh, right. Yep, that's right.
Which is just a really rude way to talk about your boss.
No, she's
she might find it a compliment.
Right. Yeah.
I think she would find it a little too limiting.
Also, Lara, definitely. I mean, they both qualified.
No, she's a sexual predator. There's a difference.
Yes.
Are you
but
saying
the alien
sexual predators
with
are
the
not
mandibles,
monsters?
not yeah. I'm gonna let the director's question just stand. So I would like there to be an answer.
Okay.
So
new colors. Instead of blue for protection, it is now green, yellow-green, because he understands that the blue is not protection anymore.
Because he's in touch with the earth.
His magic his shield has been blue, then more multicolored when he got the more advanced bracelet, and now his magic in general is greenish because of his new ties that we don't really understand yet.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with that blue is for protection, and therefore, that's not why.
His dumb ideas of blue is the color of protection. That's why he gets the blue Play-Doh. Also, it's because it's $1 cheaper than the other ones. Make up his own excuses for why his
but he needed to talk in that scene because otherwise it doesn't matter.
You know that he didn't invent that shit, right? Like, that people have been speculating on what the various colors. Like, this is a
but
cultish,
if you get told that orange
thing.
is the color of protection, if you are told that as a child growing up, you will think that forever. He was told by all the people saying that blue is the color of protection, and it conveniently is the cheaper color of Play-Doh. But
I don't know. I got told it was Santa Claus. I grew out of that.
Right?
That one's totally real, but his perspective gets changed when he bonds with a demon reach. He's like, the crystals are a lot more protective because they're containing.
I don't think the crystals are green.
Yeah, I don't, because the crystals are crystal.
They're purple or something.
But their purpose is to protect the rest of the world from the things that they're containing.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll get an explanation in 39 books, probably. But
I think it's not really any different than when he was using Hellfire and he got Scarlet in his staff and all this stuff. It's just, this is his new connection. Here's how we're representing it.
It's different to me because Demon Reach doesn't have any power off the island. Hellfire was with him. He was able to channel Hellfire. So, I guess
inherently
the implication
connected to the island is the implication.
I was going to say, it's not like he's drawing power off of it, but he has been impacted by it.
He has to be drawing power off of it if you're going to equivocate it with Hellfire, though. But to your credit, because he can do the whole crystal ritual, to the shores of the island or whatever, or to the shores
actually,
of
you could do it as long as it was at the water. So anywhere in Chicago, at the water.
Right.
That's how I understood it.
Therefore, being the shore of the lake.
Yeah, that's also like it's gonna be a lot easier plot-wise, right? It's not gonna be like,
well, yeah. I mean, it would have been really, really ridiculous after a while if Merlin and the other wardens of Demon Reach always had to bring some people to the island in order to trap them. Like the warden seems like an extension of the power, therefore the influence is there. Therefore, it's not Demon Reach's power proper, but it's a connection enough to it in the world.
Well, not only that, but even Murphy says on their way into the island, she's like, how is the island affecting you while you're here? And he's like, it's not, I'm the warden. And she's like, unless you don't know how. And so like there's these subtle, that might just be a hint, his new colors, that just might be a hint that the island really is affecting him in ways that he can't quite sense yet.
Sure. Because he's an idiot. So
yeah,
well, he's aware of it, right? I mean, they comment on the color change, and then Mab's like, well, he made this connection with the island.
Yeah. Well, she's not an idiot, but he is.
So yeah.
That's why she had to tell him, He probably woke up one day, cast his shield, and was like, that's fucking weird. I'll worry about that later.
Exactly.
It's the Starborn thing. Let's worry about that in 17 years.
I was going to say, I don't think it was in Cold Days because he didn't have a staff, but in Skin Game it was green. So...
Yeah. The staff that he got from Demon Reach.
Right.
He carved it there.
He made at the end of Cold Days, or was making at the end of Cold Days.
Yeah. So maybe
he probably made his bracelet there too, right?
I think the bracelet came after, but the staff being the connection to to Demon Reach, like there's actually a corporeal resemblance. And we saw Demon Reach like get into eternal silence. There's no reason that the spirit at least.
For that.
Yeah, it was a proxy.
If it was important, then maybe Mab can do that again.
Yeah, but I don't think Mab's like constantly siphoning his power to Harry in that way. It seems a lot easier that he's the extension of the island because he's the warden and his stick comes from it more than Mab is making his power go there.
I don't want to write off that eternal silence can never come back.
Well, you don't want to write. You don't have to write that off. What are you talking about? These two things are not equal.
That statue is decently creepy, by the way. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Lara is owed 3 favors, and Mab has taken care of 1. So Harry has to pay up for the other 2.
Right.
And how did she get 3 favors when he had to storm Arctis Tor to get 1, and then he wasted on a donut?
She was smarter.
Well, and technically he didn't get a favor from Mab for that.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He got a minor one from Summer because Lily played a political game.
Yeah.
Right.
But whatever Mab gave her, I'm still really curious about. The line at the end that Lara earned the favors by taking care of visas was a little lackluster to me. I thought it was...
Did she say visa or did she say immigration issue?
Visas.
Now you're going to make me go look.
Why don't you believe me?
It's visas.
Why do you ask if you don't believe me?
I need to say something.
He's got some comment that's going to get us, demonetized when he
we
finally
have
gets
been
around
already.
to it.
Yeah.
So she's there. Also importantly, for those of you who watch the trailer and everything, she's told explicitly by Mab not to eat her porridge. So Lara has been told no poaching.
Yeah, visa issues. You're right.
So
surprise.
Yeah.
Lara's very hungry apparently, and Mab says hands off, which immediately makes me think she's gonna eat him.
Right. That's her secret, though. She's always hungry. So.
Speaking of which, do you guys get the feeling in this book that Laura might slowly be losing control over her demon?
A little bit.
There's like a lot of times in this book where she's like kind of loses it, and Harry's like, "Are you doing that? Like, are you in control of yourself or not? She's like, I'm not always in control of myself. And I don't ever remember it being that way before.
That's some issues that people had, but also, I really think that the comment from Freitas is pretty underrated for a lot of the stuff that we see from Laura in this book.
What's that?
Laura. So she says that Laura likes you,
yeah.
you. Is implied, and so I think that's why we get a little bit more of the like girl next door. We get a little bit more of the like directed flirting, whereas it was just like, okay, she's a sex vampire demon, of course she's flirting with Harry in previous books, but after the Deeps, like when's the last time they've had a major connection? Has there been one? I don't want to like rule it out. So she was right, and there was but even still there was some pretty heavy flirting there too, right? And she was in on Dresden's plan, but Ebenezer wasn't, so some great lines there. But ever since the Deeps, she's been like, I actually like you, like you, but it's a shame you're still protected, because she tried to feed on him then. And I think we're just seeing another advanced stage of that. And not until Freitas boops Harry on the head with it do you get the like, oh, she like means it, but she's also still a tiger, and she can't change her stripes, and she can't not feed on her any more than Thomas not feeds on Justine. Right. But I think, it's also a fair bit of like Thomas tries to fight his nature, whereas Laura has embraced it,
Right. Hers is instinct. I mean, she's kicked it into high gear, like when she met Ramirez and he was a virgin, and, she's like, oh, she's basically ready to jump him right then and there.
Is he a present?
Right. So
honestly, he would have benefited so much from spending a night with Laura.
Other than the being dead part. So
he wouldn't have died, number one. Number two, it would have prepared him for handling Molly later on, potentially.
Yeah, I think you guys underestimate the thrallness of the like. Even if he survived, it's only because now she's got her hooks in him, literally. Like,
listen,
and that's true of even most mortal women, let alone sex vampires who can.
I'm not gonna equate him with
you.
Margaret, because she seemed pretty potent in general. But you've seen someone can have an extended relationship with a psycho vampire and be more or less okay.
We don't know all the details about that though. So
she lived for at least 5 years at a minimum with routine vampire sex going on.
I mean, how long has it been with Justine? Because by the time of Blood Rights, it was 4 years. How long has it been since
she's had it a
Blood
lot worse.
Yes.
She's almost died like twice.
Thomas tries to stop, like to the point where Thomas, who was out of his fucking mind hungry, who should have fatally fed on Justine, didn't. Laura says this isn't even possible. It was stupid, dangerous, and could have killed him. He still managed it. Spoiler alert. Laura's not that chick. She's not going to hold back. She's not going to whatever. So yeah, sure. But
she doesn't have to eat him all in one bite.
She doesn't have to, but is there any evidence that she's never has?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't just eat people in one bite every time.
Yeah, because it's not efficient, but
she said that herself. It makes no sense.
It's inefficient. Other White Courts said the same thing. In Blood Rights, she mentioned that she had brought a doctor, and maybe the doctor could take a look at Inari and Thomas, and Papa Ray said something about if he still has his mind left. But it's like, okay, so she has someone for a long period of time that she's been eating for a long period of time.
Or Dad assumes that she's been eating.
Why would he be right about that?
So, for instance, are you telling me that she's fed on all of her guards? Because I felt like once she took over, one of the changes was there's food,
correct,
and then there's people.
It was implied,
and so I don't believe that she fed on the fucking doctor while she keeps the guards.
That was just one of her random.
That was one of her lovers. That was very much the implication.
Yeah,
at least that's what I remember
like the
it
ship
as.
Doctor.
I don't know. I'm not making the same assumptions, so.
But
because they ask if Laura is in residence, is her doctor here? Like it's her current lover, not is it the house doctor?
So the lines that you've offered as evidence do not actually make the connections in my mind that they have in yours.
Well, what evidence do you have that she's ever just
because
someone
my
in one
doctor
go?
is in evidence is
just
in
because.
Evidence. Residence does not mean that we're boning, let alone I've eaten him. So where's the line that they actually had a relationship?
Okay.
Where's that line?
Okay,
That's
I
what
can
I'm
just
saying.
tell you what the one I got from it when I read it. I can't remember the exact words because it's been a while since
so
we did
far
the
the implication you've added was Daddy said.
Well, I'm not
She's
even
feeding.
arguing on behalf of the doctor. I'm just saying she has said herself it's inefficient to just eat people in one go.
Not
Right.
even Madeline ate people in one go. Right? Because they go into the deeps in White Knight, and there was someone who had clearly been fed on, but he was still alive, and she had him taken away, so Madeline didn't kill him on the way out.
All right.
And these are all just normal people without wizard reserves as backup. Anyway.
Whatever. We know that they can enthrall these guys through sex, so like that's part of the implication there too. Like,
yes, but thralls are only good if they're actually hanging around.
Right.
Point is, Ramirez should have spent the night with her. And then he wouldn't be so frustrated and now a broken virgin and bitter about it.
Right.
Just be broken in other ways, So
he'd be happy about it.
And that's what's really important.
He's not happy now.
Speaking of that situation, I don't know if you guys have discussed it before or not, but do you guys think the same thing happens with the summer lady when she tries to have sex?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would imagine so.
I don't know.
The
Same
nights
thing.
are
I think there's a
different, though, right?
principle in place to do it.
We don't know that. People like to say that because they really want Harry to bone Molly, but that's gross. So stop it.
No, not even that though. Lily and Fix were literally in bed next to each other. So
Doesn't
I
mean
don't
they were
know.
boning. Oh, come on.
Right.
You don't know that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
you're
doesn't
telling me
say
that
her
you've spent the
specifically.
night in the
I
bed
assumed
of
it as
somebody with the
well,
same
but you don't
sex,
know.
let alone now put them on a supermodel level. Like you spent the night in bed next to a supermodel and you didn't bone the girl that you had a crush on when you were a nobody.
When was it said
come on.
the two of them were?
Oh, right. We're going to argue this when we got to argue the doctor thing. Now you're going to use
No,
that
no,
on
no.
me. Come on.
Again,
now.
the doctor
Like,
thing is not my
He
point.
fucking woke up in her bed with.
He didn't.
Do we got to go find this?
Yeah, because he didn't.
The only
Wait.
time I remember Fix
It's
being in
Skin
bed.
Game, isn't it?
Nope.
No.
What?
Why would it be
Are
in
you
Skin
talking
Game?
about the
She's
phone
dead.
call?
Yes.
It was in Proven Guilty.
Yeah, he had a phone call and there was
Yeah.
a woman's voice. It didn't say it was Lily's. It didn't say it was anybody's.
Sure.
But
Fix was
in
banging
Cold
some chick.
Days, when Lily is so mad when she's saying, I wanted a husband, I wanted children, I wanted that life, and now I can't have it. I assume it's because she can't.
That
Fair
too.
point, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that is necessarily. I think Summer's probably more like gentle about pushing it away, or at least maybe not as cruel as leaving you as a bloody husk
Not
on the
as
floor. You might
lethal,
just
yeah.
turn to ash.
Maybe if Ramirez had used a condom, this wouldn't have happened. So,
I do wonder about that, though.
Oh,
Does
that
it
is interesting.
recognize? Yeah, but he's a Catholic. He's not allowed.
Would it recognize if he was sterile? We don't know. It's magic.
Huh. So do you guys know, are other she sterile? Has it been mentioned
No.
anyway?
They're
No, they
Maybe
can, well,
it's
they.
been
I
more
can't
than-
imagine
no,
they
they
work
can
because
procreate,
there's
right.
changelings running around.
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, of course, right, yeah.
I mean, ogres and trolls seem very, very happy to propagate with unwilling women.
Mhm.
So then
Red
the-
caps,
the-
I assume.
The Winter Lady can't bone anybody then.
Well, she
Other-
could maybe bone chicks. We haven't
Yeah,
figured that out yet.
That's true, yeah. Maybe that's why Maeve and Jenny Greenteeth were so close.
It seems likely. I mean, and I have to imagine, since Fae are kind of open on sexuality, they seem to bang whatever they find attractive. That
Sure,
it would
yeah.
just kind of makes sense.
Right.
We're 15 over. Do we want to pause
Yeah,
here, or are we going
did
to keep
you-
rambling?
He wants to find
He
this
looks very
proof.
It's okay.
intense.
He can
It's
find
okay.
what he wants. It's not
Yeah.
there. There's nothing to say it was Lily. It was just a chick he was in bed with.
Yeah, it doesn't say specifically. We could at least finish out this chapter, which is basically if Lara says burn down a building, I expect a mountain of ash. If Lara says steal something, I expect it to be acquired. She doesn't say break anything, just get the result. But he does the clever thing of say she wants me to do something like this, and of should I actually stick to these restraints? And she says yes.
Well, I mean, it's different parameters than Nicodemus, who she wanted to screw over, versus Laura, who she actually wants to pay back. So,
I guess.
I mean, yeah, she expects him still to be not, because, you know, Laura can't ask anything of him that would bring shame or embarrassment or undue damage to her reputation.
Right.
So, you know, theoretically, she could still order him to burn down a political rival's building, and that would potentially reflect badly on Mab. But as long as the result is what Laura wants in the end.
Yeah, he has to balance both his obligations to Winter and the Accords and the obligations to Lara, because those are also the same thing. And she says, for you to do anything less would be for you to cast shame and dishonor upon my name, upon my throne, and all of Winter. I invite you to contemplate the consequences of that.
I'm sure they'd be fine.
Oh yeah.
She's never punished a knight unduly.
That went well for him.
Well, that was outright betrayal. I mean, that's
what you get when Maeve chooses the help.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they leave the Munster mobile, and he goes back to the embassy and finds it on fire with Maggie inside.
And we have now officially gotten to the end of the chapters we got for free.
Yes.
Right.
So congrats everyone that actually watched this. You have learned nothing.
We didn't learn anything the entire
They won't
book,
learn anything
apparently.
from watching us. They'll just get our opinions.
Some of our opinions are facts, and some of them are just so stupid. Thank you.
All of our opinions
can't
are
be-
opinions.
Yeah, opinions are opinions, facts are facts. Like, I know this is America, and you guys like to blur the line.
They read this.
Oh,
That's
you
a
guys!
fact.
I'm sorry.
You guys.
Are you no longer living in America that I'm
I
unaware
know,
of?
I know what facts versus opinions are, you jackass. So,
They
I don't
read
count
read
myself
the same
against that
text
one.
that we did.
no,
You're
I
from
live
Florida.
in
You have
Florida.
absolutely no idea the difference. Who are you kidding?
I live in Florida, so
It's not from.
It's been ingrained in you.
We can start next time
It's
with
Justin, now Florida man.
chapter 7.
Justin's been Florida, man.
He has to be there for a while to become Florida.
How long has he been there?
4 years.
I don't
3
think that's
years.
enough. Listen, if you have to live in a place where you change your residency, you become that thing.
That's not true. His heritage.
Well, he's
and
been
his,
Florida
like,
man
you're-
since then.
You're in Jersey, right? Do we really want to start down this thing?
No, I'm not in Jersey. I'm in the better new state.
Oh, okay.
The better.
I'm not sure being in any of them is good. But,
No,
Do we want to actually sign off, or do we want to?
what's his name is from New Jersey.
I mean, we can try to get into the not free chapters if we want. At 15 over, we should make this decision now.
I say
Should
we
we?
be done. So
just done.
Yeah,
It's-
Justin's done with this
we
because he didn't get
covered-
proven right about Lily, and he wants
Justin
to.
has to
I
go.
haven't had time to research it. You still jackass. So.
We were trying to give you
So
time.
in any case, we've made it through 6 chapters, which means this should only take us about 5 parts because there were only 30 something chapters. So, all right,
Okay.
are we okay with doing the sign off?
Yeah, sure. Plug our
Okay,
Fuck
Ben.
the shit.
thank you, other jackass. So this has been the Dresden Files podcast, a production of the Broken Jars Network. BrokenJars.xyz, DriveThruRPG.net. Click on things, give us money. Check
Yeah.
out our Patreon, where I can call you a jackass too. So-
Yeah. Give us money on Patreon, and then you get to watch us argue about Star Wars in Discord.
Yep. And then, yeah, join us next week while we talk about probably Star Wars.
Well,
What was the other thing we needed to talk about?
I don't know. We were just going
I
to do
thought we had a
overrated
topic.
things, and I know it's going to become Star Wars, but we should also think of other overrated things. So I'll bring up Joss Whedon.
Of course, you
Oh.
should think of something other than Joss Whedon, since we've done that for the last 3 episodes.
Or Harry Potter.
Director Alex, this is the 3rd time you've brought Joss Whedon to show and tell. It's time for something new.
Okay, I'll bring up Buffy.
Oh my god.
That's a Joss Whedon thing.
yeah.
Joke! Jesus Christ! Good